Ed, economists predicting inflation could rise to 3.8%. Tom Piotrowski, he said anything over 4% is a disaster.
That would be true. Anything over 4% would be a bit of a disaster for our economy and for the Reserve Bank of Australia. That would just put a lot more pressure on them to raise interest rates. Their next meeting is the first week of August, so it's not for a little bit of time. But the RBA also will get its quarterly CPI numbers at the end of July as well. So remember, today's figures are just the monthly inflation indicator. They look at about 60% of the CPI basket. Things that rise and fall in cost too much are excluded from today's figures. So they're not totally accurate, but they're a pretty good representation of where inflation's going. And remember, back the previous month, it was 3.6. This month, they're expecting 3.8. So they're expecting it to rise very slightly. So it is a bit of a challenge here for the Reserve Bank, Pete.
OK, now on Friday, the Americans will have their own turn when it comes to an inflation report. Inflation in the US expected to be much lower, 2.6%.
And in the US, remember, the cash rate is a lot higher at 5.5%. So inflation is a lot lower in America. The expectation is, 2.6% is what they're going to see for the same month, the month of May. And it means for them that they can probably start cutting the cash rate in September in the United States. Remember as well, in the US, you usually get a mortgage for a 30-year fixed term. So the cash rate changes don't affect as many people as they do in Australia. So the Reserve Bank does have more of a lever to play, moving the cash rate around and moving virtually everyone's mortgage across the country. But it just shows that when you lift the cash rate higher than we have, you can crush inflation quicker. And that looks like we're going to get confirmation of that later this week when the numbers come in for the America.
All righty. Edward Boyd, appreciate it. Thanks, Ed. Talk to you soon.